Yuki and John's Patreon Buffet.
Okay, hello everybody.
Hello.
We are here. I believe we're here.
Yes.
We just tried to recheck the microphones here, and for some reason it keeps kicking me off the Scarlett Pro. I don't know. People know this this interface that we use. It's called the Focusrite Scarlett Pro, and I don't know. Like 3 or 4 times I had to re-download the drivers for it, and it's driving me bonkers, right? But Yuki's here, and we just did a few podcasts, and we said, hey, there's still some time, so why don't we
Right.
do another podcast, right?
Yes, correct.
And Yuki came up with a topic.
Books.
Books! Now, we realized that we did authors in the past.
Right.
But books is different enough from authors because while we could talk about authors and books,
Right.
books, we could talk about them in and of themselves. What is a book?
Right.
How do you read a book?
Many kinds of book. Even the cooking book is a book. So
Cooking book. How did you learn to read,
Right.
Yuki? All that
Oh,
sort of stuff.
yes.
Libraries. We could talk about
Right.
books.
I have a funny story about the library.
All right. Well, lay it on me, Yuki. This is Books by the Yuki and John's Podcast Buffet.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
When I was a kid,
Okay.
I didn't read the book at all. No.
Ever. You just didn't care about
no,
books.
I didn't
Not
care about
comic
the book.
books, not-
No. And then I was maybe junior high.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't a stupid kid, but I didn't study much.
Right.
And then about by that time I already liked the movie, so I was always watching. And then there's one famous movie critic. He has a movie club. Once a month, third Saturday. He gathers all young film buff.
Okay.
And then talks about, and then I never listened to teacher, but I listen movie critic, right?
You listen to the critic, yeah.
Critic. When he said, "You guys, I understand you love a movie, but you have to read the book as much as it's even before the movie, then you see the movie, then after the movie, you go back to the original book stuff." He was talking about, then I said, oh, I have to read the book. Then I start reading the book like crazy. That's because he said so.
Because he said so.
Yeah.
So you started, but what were some of the first books that you read?
I read lots of Japanese literature, those, to start with.
Quaiden?
Oh, yeah.
You read the ghost
Quaiden.
stories?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell
And then also, Yasunari Kawabata, the one who won the Nobel Prize,
The Nobel Prize?
Yeah.
What did he write?
Dancer of Izu. Yeah.
What about Woman in the Dunes? Did you read that book?
Oh yeah. I
Oh,
read
you
that
did?
book. Yeah, well, because it's a movie. Like he
Yeah,
said,
we just watched the movie, me and
That's
Liz,
a
and
good one.
it's a masterpiece. But I saw it was based on a novel. I was wondering how
Right.
wild that novel was.
see, so Kurosawa isn't only Japanese director. There's a many
No.
good, director too. Just they aren't recognized it, but
That's great.
yeah.
So books. You got involved in books because of a guy told you
Right.
you shouldn't just watch movies. You should
Right.
ingest the reading.
Right.
And that's helped you in your life because you're obviously, I think you're smarter for it because you know a lot about a lot of different things, and that's not just from watching and listening, that's from reading. You probably like to read all sorts of stuff, right? Do you still read books to this day?
Not as much, but I still read. I read all Michael Crichton's book.
Oh yeah. You so
You
in
know,
the
that's-
author thing you said that you love Michael Crichton.
Right.
And it's of course, but
And
you know
then,
what? No, keep going.
And then I read, the Tom Clancy, Stephen King.
Oh yeah.
The Michael Connelly, and then
Oh yeah.
Agatha Christie, but they write too many, so I can't read them all. John Grisham, just too many books. they write the book like once every year.
Yeah, sometimes more.
Yeah, I can't follow that. Then Dick Francis.
Oh, he's the guy who does the horse racing and stuff.
So,
yeah.
but everything is about the horse race. So know, soon you get bored. So you know.
I remember in English class when I was in high school, this teacher who we talked about the cat who could read backwards.
Mm-hmm.
The same year, they said, "Okay, we're going to do another book that doesn't have anything to do. This is just for extra credit, nothing to do with our curriculum.
Right.
You read a book called Four Keeps by Dick Francis."
Mm-hmm.
And my grades were good, but English was my best subject, so I figured, why not do the extra credit and guarantee an A? So I read that book, and I really liked it. It was cool. It's like scandal and the horse racing and fighting and all that sort of stuff. I thought it was really cool. Yes.
So how many did you read his books?
Just that one.
Just that one?
Yeah. I did it for extra credit. But, for me with books, when I was very young, kindergarten, and a little bit before, I was very fascinated by books because I was in class and I was learning how to read. And I saw this kid in the corner, and he was alone sitting there reading a book, and I thought the book looked amazing. And I said to the teacher, "Can I read that one?" And she said, "No, that one's a little more advanced than you guys are used to." So I started to really, really kick into gear to learn how to read just so I could get that book and read it. And I remember telling my mother, she was like, "Why are you so obsessed with that book?" And I said, as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted it. And I really learned how to read so that I could get that book and read it. And it wasn't that good. So, but the thing was, I remember learning to read on purpose so that I could read a book. It was like my goal. And then after that, throughout the years, I would read books like James and the Giant Peach, like Roald Dahl books and stuff like that throughout school. But I wasn't a voracious reader. I wasn't a crazy reader until after high school. In college, I started to read like a crazy person. So throughout school, if there was a book I had to read and I was forced to, I would read it. But a lot of times, some of them, I would just listen in class, and then I would still. So, for instance, A Separate Peace. Right. We had to read that book in high school. I just couldn't do it. I just didn't want to read it. I kept trying, and I was like, oh. So I just listened in class, and I got a good grade because I just listened and took good notes.
I see.
But I kind of regret that I didn't read that book just because people say it's a classic. Or another one was The Red Badge of Courage. I just couldn't do it. I just could not bring myself to read those assignments. So I just listened in class and did okay. In college, I started to pick up crazy shit. I started to read all sorts of stuff, like we mentioned Dante's Inferno.
Right, Dante's Inferno.
I picked up a translation of Dante's Inferno, and I started to read it, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. Even though it was really dense and wordy and thick and impenetrable.
It was hard for me. We talked about it because my English was good enough. And then, when I came from Japan, I went to college, and then, the requirement, I have to take an English class, and, we check with the classmate, Yuki, take a children literature. That's the easiest English course. But that's not true. I thought the children literature, in a way, it's a lot harder than regular literature course. But I read like Charlotte's Web, Little Prince. I mean, it's like a very philosophical content,
Charlotte's Web's a deep...
Right?
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, it's easy to read. Some stuff, because it's a children literature.
Yeah.
Kids read it. So, written very easy way.
Yeah.
But the philosophy content, it's a lot deeper than you think. It's like, oh my god, this isn't just kids. You know, this should be adult.
This is for the adults. There's some bridge books too between kids and adults that I think bridge the gap between reading something that's simple for kids and reading something that's really complicated for adults. A book like, say, Animal Farm.
Oh, that's right. It's
all about animals, so kids can sort of get it, and it's written pretty simply, but it's got this really insane political
Right,
message.
it's a message, yeah.
And you start to think like, whoa, the pigs are walking on their hind legs. What does that mean?
Right,
What is this all
right.
about? Similarly, John Steinbeck's of Mice and Men.
Right,
100 pages,
Right.
short novel,
right.
simply written, really complicated subject
Right.
matter. But a kid, I don't mean a kid like 7 years
Right.
old. I mean a kid maybe like 12, 13 can
Right.
read of Mice and Men and really be moved by it, and it's easy enough for them to sort of
Right.
bridge the gap between children and adult.
Right.
And I guess they have that whole section, young adult novels, and that's also good. I feel like the Harry Potter books
Right.
is
Is
a
that
great.
young adult too? That-
I think the first one started really simply,
Simple.
but by the time that they were at the last one, the Deathly Hallows, that was as long as a Stephen King book. That shit was like 1,000
Right.
pages. So
I know. I mean, the first one, then it became so long, and the movie in between too long. So I lost and I quit. I just can't follow it anymore.
yeah, I like those books. But so with other books, I started to read. I started to carry a book around all the time. Once I got into college and
Right,
whatever,
right.
I read a shitload of stuff, and I started to read into all sorts of philosophy. I would never have read a nonfiction book when I was a kid. I was only into fiction. And then when I got
Oh.
older, I started reading all kinds of shit that was nonfiction or philosophy or
Right.
any of that kind of thing. And that opened up my mind to just be more tolerant as far as people's ideas in general. Just listening to people
Right.
was helpful because I read books. Because I said, oh, maybe they have a
Yes.
different... I'm not going to be so closed-minded because there's other ideas out there and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not really into nonfiction. I mean, there's a one nonfiction I remember. It's called One Day in September, that terrorist attack and then
Oh,
during
yeah.
the Munich
That's
Olympic.
right, with the Munich thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That book was great, and then I thought, gee, somebody should make this documentary. Then somebody did.
Aha. Yeah, that's cool. That's great nonfiction work.
Right.
I don't know. I tried to read the Bible, just for fun.
But
It wasn't that fun, but I think I showed you last time the children's book. So I started to read sort of that
but
stuff.
the Bible, like without thinking about the religion, Bible is a good. There's a movie called The Bible, right?
Yeah.
And the Ben Hur is a part of a Bible story, the greatest story ever told. And
Supposedly, yeah.
yeah. So
What about collecting books? Do you have a collection of books?
there was a time I did. Then I was moving around. Then I can't keep carrying this. So
Yeah,
it
that was
kind
the
of
biggest
ends.
problem with my move. When I moved to this
Yes.
apartment, was the amount of books that I brought. It was a nightmare because we don't have an elevator here. It's just a walk up.
Right. But I like physically real books.
I
and
love books.
e-book like a bullshit.
Yeah, although I absolutely have hundreds of books on my cell phone right now, because all right, I'm going to tell people this because look, it's open information.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes you can't find the book that you want, and you got to do it. It's this site called libgen.rs, libgen.rs. That stands for Library Genesis.
Do you have to pay for it?
No, it's free, and you could go in and type in the title of a book that you want, and it's mostly there. I mean, almost anything.
Do they have like a Michael Crichton?
Well, what do you want? Michael Crichton. Let's type in. So I'm here at Library Genesis. Michael Crichton.
Let's see. Airframe.
Let's just see if the second one that comes up, and that's in a PDF extension. But you could get EPUBs. So EPUB, the extension EPUB, is for stuff like your book app or your Kindle app or something like that. Then they have all sorts of other stuff, PDFs. They have movie files. I don't even know what the fuck that is. They have comic book files. You could get comic book reader. So here you got Airframe, the Andromeda Strain, Terminal Man,
Oh my god.
Sphere,
All free?
all free. Jurassic Park Timeline.
Do they have a dragon teeth?
Let's see. Congo. Let's see. Let's go to the next page. That's just the first page. So this thing was developed for college students who may not be able to afford to buy books and just to help them out so that they can get the books that they need for cheap or free.
Oh my god.
The Lost World, Timeline, State of Free. I don't think I see that one.
Oh.
But a lot of stuff's there. So if you want and you're just looking for a book and you feel like, hey,
Wow.
I've spent enough on books in my life, just go to libgen.rs and download some stuff. I seriously have hundreds of books in my book app because I love it.
Wow.
Let me read some of the books that I have to you here because I haven't even really read a lot of these. So here's another thing that I have before I get to this. There's a Japanese word for somebody. It's a word for people who buy more books than they can actually read. Do you know this word?
No.
I'll tell you. It's
What's
the
called?
word is Sundoku. Tsundoku.
Oh, tsundoku.
Yeah, it's defined as the stockpiling of books that will never be consumed.
Right. Because they keep stacking the
Because
books.
they keep stacking the books, but they can't read them as fast as they
Right,
buy them.
right.
That is me. I have so many books in not only in my phone but in my real life that I will probably never read.
So you get the book faster than you read.
100% because Liz Shack loves antique stores. I do too, but she likes antiques and things like that. I love the book section. I could spend hours in an antique book section if they have just shelves of books. I could sit there for hours and just go, oh my God, what's this? What's that? What's the other thing? The last time I got a Cooking with Cheese, a book called Cooking with Cheese from the 50s. It's amazing, right? I love that sort of thing, is collecting books and then just being able to have them on my shelf and look at them and feel good about them. It just makes me feel good to stare at them and to have the option to say, okay, today I'm going to read, The True Believer, or today I'm going to read a book by Bukowski, or I'm going to read Umberto Eco's Foucault's Pendulum. I have all these books. I read them, The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. It's a great book,
When you become like a 70s, 80s, and then
then I'll have 1,500
you were screwed. Yeah.
Oh, well, 1,500. I probably already have 1,500. I'll probably have 5 rooms full of books. But I just love having them around. And every so often, I kind of say, in my own philosophy in my mind, is that I'm in the middle of reading every single book in existence until I die. Because I could pick up, look, in the corner over there, I have a book by Joe Esterhaus, who's a famous screenwriter. He wrote Basic Instinct, whatever.
And then what, the Showgirls.
Showgirls. He wrote a book on screenwriting, but it's not really any advice. It's just snapshots of other people's advice. So he'll get other screenwriters to say what happened. He'll tell stories of Hollywood stories about writers sleeping with women, all kinds of stuff. It's just an interesting thing. So I got that from my library. Same thing with this book, Into the Dark, about the film noir that we did our film noir episode. So I also go to the library. So I collect books.
Oh my God.
I go to the library and then I collect them on my phone. I'm Sudoku all the way.
So, by the way, what happened to Joe Esterhaus? Is he still writing, retired, or what?
That's a great question. The last that I heard that he was writing something was a book, a movie called The Maccabees, and it's that's like a Jewish epic from the Bible. It's from the Old Testament, and he was writing it for Mel Gibson.
Oh,
and there's a leaked audio. Joe Esterhaus was invited to Mel Gibson's house in Costa Rica. Joe Esterhaus brought his wife and his child, and he was supposed to be working with Mel Gibson on the script. And one night, Mel Gibson got completely hammered and started screaming, "Where is the Maccabees? Where is my script?" And Joe Esterhaus's kid got so scared that he started to record Mel Gibson. You could go look up the screaming online.
Oh, really?
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny because there's one part where he's screaming about how Joe Esterhaus is writing too slowly, and he's ranting and raving. He's yelling at the help. And then he starts screaming, "Come on, everybody, let's eat! Let's all get something to eat! It's time to eat! Hooray!" And he just storms away.
He's a drunk,
He's a psycho drunk, yeah.
He's a psycho, yeah.
He's a psycho. So That's the last I heard that Joe Esterhaus was working on whatever. But he's written a couple books. He has a book called Hollywood Animal, which is his autobiography, which I definitely want to read. So he's a very interesting guy. But so here's some books that I have in my thing that I've read some of these beforehand and I just lost them or stuff. So here's one called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. You ever hear of this book?
No.
It's really cool. It's all these examples of how people gained power throughout history, kept power, and all this. So there's all these examples of Roman emperors.
That's
or
nonfiction, right?
It's nonfiction, but it's really cool. So he does a step-by-step thing about how the 48 laws to gain power and keep power. And some of them are really good. Never outshine the master. So if you have, say, a mentor and you want to keep that mentor as your mentor, you don't surpass them until you're done with them. Otherwise, that mentor will turn on you and betray you. So that's like a law, which I kind of agree with, right? So say that somebody's teaching you how to do something, and then you go and you steal a job from them or something like that, that you make an enemy for life. But if you're under the tutelage of the mentor and you stay with them and you stay loyal, later on they'll help you gain more power. So it's things like that. That's a really cool book. Here we go. Blood Meridian. Cormac McCarthy died this year, right?
Who? I don't know.
You don't know Cormac McCarthy? He did All the Pretty Horses.
Oh,
he wrote,
okay.
No Country for Old Men. He supposedly his masterpiece of a book is Blood Meridian. So I downloaded it to see what I can, if I could read it. Here's another one. On Writing Horror by Mort Castle. This is a collection of essays by horror writers just giving advice on how to write horror. There's an essay in here by Joyce Carol Oates. Essay in here by Dean Koontz, Stephen King. So they just give you practical advice.
Dean Koontz?
You don't like Dean Koontz?
Well, I can't say I don't like it because I never read his book because...
I read 2 or 3 of his books and they're not bad. They're kind of good. At least I've read Phantoms. That was very good.
Did anybody made a movie?
They made a lot of movies of his books. In fact, some French movie, High Tension.
Oh, yeah.
You ever hear that?
Yeah, well, I see it.
Oh, you saw it. Did you like it?
No,
yeah,
that was
bad.
That movie,
bad twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, the twist at the end. Spoilers, but whatever.
I know.
So the whole movie is a knockoff of a Dean Koontz book called Intensity. And it's basically the same story except for the twist. And then when they asked Dean Koontz, because he was pretty pissed about them stealing his book.
Did he sue?
He saw the movie, and he said, I wouldn't even dignify them to sue them because the movie is so horrible. So he doesn't want to bring any light to their movie by suing them. He just wants the fucking people to forget about it.
That bad, huh?
That fucking
but
bad.
I didn't like that movie. That was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. I mean, there were some good parts, but overall it was garbage.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. There's all these great. The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's all.
Never read the book. I hated the movie. I pass.
Here's a cool one, and I actually read about half of this one so far. It's called Phasers on Stun: How the Making and Remaking of Star Trek changed the business. No, changed the world. And it's all about how Star Trek started. How it was developed. Gene Roddenberry, Lucille Ball was responsible for getting it on air. Not a lot of people know that. She fought to get that show on air, and how they, they filmed the first pilot for Star Trek, and then it wasn't really well received, so they had to reshoot it with Kirk.
Shatner, right? Because the first guy wasn't William Shatner.
No, first guy wasn't William Shatner, but then they went on to use that pilot episode to then make another episode down the line, a 2-parter, and say that Captain Pike was the... It's just so fascinating because they talk about Leonard Nimoy and how he developed the thing and the ears and all that stuff. It's just so fucking awesome. So that's a great one. That's by a guy named... what did I say his name was? It doesn't matter.
But it's amazing, don't you think? Because that time, those flips. Back then, who would think that?
Who would think that the communicators? I mean, we basically have that.
Yeah.
That's
and
what
then
our cell phones are.
those like the phone video.
Video,
like,
yeah.
we didn't know. Now, we do have the same thing.
Now we got it. The only thing we need to get is teleportation.
Yeah, that's still wrong.
Would you
way
let
to
somebody
go.
beam you up if it was? I'd be afraid.
I know, huh? Beam me up, Scotty.
Beam me up. Did you ever see The Fly?
Oh, yeah.
That's teleportation. That's the real teleportation.
Yeah.
You're gonna get stuck in the fucking thing with a fly and transform.
I thought the remake was better than the original one.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Even though I love Vincent Price,
Right.
I finally watched the original Fly.
And then
It's good, but
right.
the fucking Cronenberg one is.
Yeah,
oh.
that's amazing. I mean, I didn't care about the part 2, but the first one was. Oh my
Part
God,
2
so,
was a failed attempt.
Yeah,
it could have been
but
good.
those growths, and it's really, that was really Fly. That was amazing.
Oh yeah. Here's another one. Here's a good series. It's like the complete works of, by Delphi Classics. They have a lot of the complete works of, and in here I have the complete works of Rudyard Kipling, the guy who did the Jungle Book, and a bunch of other stuff. He's the one who wrote Captain's Courageous. The complete works of Ernest Hemingway. It's a whole thing of all of his novels, all of his short stories, all of his poetry.
One of my favorite is Hemingway favorite is The Old Man and the Sea.
The Old Man and the Sea is a great novella.
And
that's
the book
another
is good.
bridge that kids could read.
Right, kids can read.
Yeah, that's a short novel. It's like
Right,
100
it's very
pages.
short, yeah.
But it's a lot of metaphor, a lot of
right.
it's very good. And apparently there's a Spencer Tracy movie that we have to watch.
Yeah.
Gotta watch it at some point. I got the collected works of Sigmund Freud up in here.
Oh.
Yeah, the interpretation of dreams.
Right.
Forget about it. You know how I feel about dreams. What else is in here? Let's see. Oh, this book is cool. And this is on LibGen. The Seduction of the Innocent. It's by Frederick Wertham. And this was a book along with I have to figure out what the other book's name is. Kubrick was really into this book, The Seduction of the Innocent, and it's all about how advertising advertises sexual things to kids through like subliminal messaging and stuff like that, which I sort of agree with. I mean, there's a lot of subliminal messaging in commercial art and things like that.
Right.
So this guy, I mean, even though people say that he was sort of like too harsh on the whole thing, he delves into how basically advertising is corrupting the youth.
Oh.
And in a way it is. I mean, you ever see a kid who sees a commercial and then won't stop fucking talking about getting that toy forever?
Yeah.
It's brainwashing. You don't think so?
I mean, I don't know about the brainwashing, so
It's the box is that television box is shooting signals into that kid's brain to say you want this, you want this, you want this, you want this. That's brainwashing.
But I mean, I don't know. When you know that you want this, then no, I don't want this. I go kind of direct, if it's too much.
Right.
Yeah.
But kids don't know.
But I was a kid.
That's true. You were a kid.
Yeah.
Did you ever want anything really bad when you were a kid?
Well, I mean, I wanted what I wanted, but not because TV says that you want this, you want this.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, I think half the reason I loved G.I. Joe was because of the TV commercials.
No, my father got it for me.
Oh, okay. So you just...
I never said, hey, I saw the commercial, I want it. I never did that.
You're a special kind of man, Yuki Nakamura. A special kind of child.
I don't know, because, if they say, you buy this, like, okay, then I know I'm not buying it.
Well, see, you're a strong-willed person. Not everybody on Earth is strong-willed like you. Some people are weak. Some people are open to suggestion, and that's why he says it's the seduction of the innocent. So, yeah, Yuki.
I don't know if it's strong, but
there's the other book.
I'm stubborn,
Yeah, you are stubborn, but it's a good stubborn. You're set in your ways, and you know what you want. You don't lie. I like that.
Yeah, because in my mind, since I'm stubborn, like, hey, if you tell me to buy it that many times, then I'm not buying it. Screw you, you know?
Yeah.
I buy it if I won't buy it, so you don't need to tell me that.
Yeah.
That's why, I kind of refuse that kind of commercial.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
What else is in here? Let's see. This is only in my book app. This is not even in my Kindle.
Wow.
Let's see. Here we go. Oh, there's a lot of shit in here. Oh my god. Stan Lee's How to Write Comics. He just teaches you how to write comic books. I don't know what I'm going to use that for, but I'm just going to look at it. Ooh, Robert Anton Wilson. I got a bunch of Robert Anton Wilson books in here. Ghost Story by Peter Straub.
Oh.
Do you remember that book?
The movie, right? Movie was
Fred
kind of
Astaire
good.
was in that movie, right? Yeah. I didn't see the movie. Is it good?
I thought that was a good movie, yeah.
I'm going to check that out because...
and who is it? The Fred Astaire and the Melvin Douglas, or those old, Hollywood classic actors?
Yeah, they're up in there. Here, let's see what's in my Kindle now. You're gonna flip, Yuki. There's so much stuff. Oh, here, I just opened up, and it looks like I was reading the old Tales from the Crypt comics, the EC archives. Now, in the Kindle, these are ones I buy. I definitely.
You have to buy it, those?
I do. I mean, I feel so bad downloading all those books in my book app from LibGen that every once in a while I'll buy a.
But how much is
some of the Kindle books? They don't go above $10. I mean, a lot of them are $1.99. A lot of them are $6.99. You know, it depends on what you're buying. This Tales from the Crypt one was like $10.
Now, so when you buy it, one time only, or you can own?
No,
it?
you own it forever, and it goes to your cloud. So even if you lose your phone or something, it's saved for you in the future. Here we go. Brainquake by Samuel Fuller.
Oh.
Yeah, I got that in my Kindle. Here, Passport to what's the name of it? Hold on. Passport to Magonia. It's about folklore and aliens and things like that. That's a good one. Here, let's see what else we got. Oh, Letters from a Stoic by Seneca. This was the Roman guy. He lived in Roman days. And basically, this is like the precursor to self-help books. The Stoic movement. He would tell you life advice and how to live your life and all that sort of stuff.
Kind of philosophical.
Definitely philosophical. Riders of the Purple Sage by Zane Grey. Zane Grey. You know who Zane Grey is?
No, I don't know.
He was, and I didn't really know who he was either until I was in an antique store in the book section, just looking at the books, and this older man, he was probably like 80 or 70, and he was with a younger woman, and I don't know if they were daughter or lovers, I don't know, but he was looking at the books, and he goes, "Oh, Zane Grey," and I said, so I started listening, and I just hear what he said. He goes, "You don't remember Zane Grey?" And the woman's like, "No." And she started getting mad because how could you not remember Zane Grey? He used to have the TV show, and he used to write all the Western novels, and I was like, "Oh, who the fuck is Zane Grey?" So he introduced me to Zane Grey, and he pissed off his woman. So then I started looking at all this stuff. So Riders of the Purple Sage, that's a famous book. He had a TV show called Zane Grey Presents, all about Western and all this sort of stuff. So I started reading Riders of the Purple Sage, and it's fucking cool. It's just a really solid Western novel.
Wow.
Oh, Valis by Philip K. Dick.
Oh, Philip K. Dick?
Yeah, so this one by Philip K. Dick, this one supposedly he had beamed into his brain by alien intelligence, and then he like crapped it out onto paper because he couldn't keep it in his brain anymore. So this one is supposedly was delivered.
Total Recall, right?
Yeah, he did Total Recall. He did the basis for Blade Runner.
Right, and then what was the Tom Cruise one? Then
Minority Report.
Minority Report.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff. But this one is supposedly directly from aliens.
Oh.
So if you want to know about his experience, Harlan Ellison. You ever listen to this guy? He used to write for TV shows and stuff, but he wrote a bunch of short stories and novels.
Did he write Pay the Writer?
Yes. Yeah, that's him.
Oh my God.
No, I don't know. He might have written Pay the Writer because that sounds like something that he would say.
Yeah.
Because he was a writer who fought a lot for writers' rights. There's a great documentary about him, and in it he's like, people are asking me for interviews to do this DVD commentary, and I say, what are you going to pay me? I'm not just going to come and help some corporation sell a DVD and give you my time. Right. They're making money. Why can't I make money? And I think he's kind of right about that in a way. He's the guy who wrote this story that supposedly James Cameron ripped off for Terminator. about a soldier from the future who's sent to
Right.
the past and all this sort of stuff. And Harlan Ellison won.
Really?
He won. Yeah, he's gotten.
He got money?
Yeah, he's gotten residuals now, or at least was paid off for Terminator.
Oh.
Yeah, but he wrote some Star Trek episodes and that sort of thing.
Oh, I see.
What about Richard Matheson? You ever get into him? We may have talked about him last time.
You know, the bars and then
I Am Legend.
I'm Legend. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got some great short stories.
Right.
Enemy Within.
Right.
Holy shit! Where she's
He's
pregnant
a
with a
good-
fucking
yeah.
alien, or is that Trespass? They might have called it that later. Anyway,
Richard Matheson. Yeah.
yeah, he's great. What other books, Yuki? What else you got?
Who's that? Oh, well, how about the Mishima? Because, you know, his book became lots of English, you know, translated.
Yeah, and later on, Paul Schrader made a movie about his life.
Yeah.
In 4 parts.
Yeah. And then I thought that was clever because his life story, autobiography, is based on novels, you know. I thought
Yeah.
that was clever, yeah.
It's very well done. Here, what else we got in here? Oh, Tales from Development Hell by David Hughes. So this guy wrote that and the greatest sci-fi movies never made. This is all about different things like the various iterations of Alien sequels that never made it to the screen. And he goes through in great detail. And it's, anybody who's fascinated with behind-the-scenes stuff gets to read about his research of what he got,
Right.
you know, all this sort of stuff. It's really cool fucking books. What else? What else you got?
Have you read the Contact, Sagan?
Oh, Carl Sagan. Don't get
Carl
me started.
Sagan.
Don't get me started on Carl Sagan. I love to read books.
I mean, I wasn't really, you know, like that movie, but...
Why didn't you like my movie based on my book, Yuki?
Because I was expecting, you know, more science fiction movie, but it was more, you know, religious philosophical movie, and then towards the end...
Jodie Foster
Jodie
in a
Foster, and
spaceship
then-
was
yeah,
not
and then-
science fiction enough for you.
Well, you know, the ending, you know, that she and then her father, you know, meeting in the beach.
Well, I did think, and I think South Park made a joke about this, but you wait the whole movie to see the alien, and all of a sudden it's just her fucking father? That would a cop out.
It's it kind of made me angry. Like, did I wait for 2 hours for
To
this?
see this goddamn alien, it's just,
You're
even though I
right.
love that actor, David Morse, I
David
think is
Morse, yeah.
But come on. You wait the whole movie, and the whole build-up is cool with the mathematics, and they figure it
Right.
out, and you get the speed, all this shit. Oh, yeah. That was a cop-out. But Carl Sagan, The Cosmos,
Cosmos.
I read the book. Liz Shack also got me a book by him called The Demon Haunted World, Science as a Light in the Dark. And it's all these essays about sort of supernatural occurrences and how they can be explained through science.
You read those essays and nonfiction?
Yeah.
I can't.
I love Carl Sagan. I
Okay.
love the way he speaks, but I also love the way he writes. I just think he's so fucking cool. And he was also, here's a secret about Carl Sagan. He was a major proponent of marijuana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a huge marijuana smoker, but he didn't write under his own name about supporting marijuana. He did it under a pseudonym because, you know, back then it was a little more frowned upon.
So when he was writing and he
When
was stoned?
Well, I'm sure. How do you fucking come up with the cosmos if you're not... you can't be sober for that shit. So, yeah, and the Cosmos, the book is great. And I'm sure a lot of it now that we've learned more in science is being updated by Neil deGrasse Tyson and all that stuff. But the original series is so goddamn good. And then the book is great. That book is great. I didn't read Contact.
Okay.
But, yeah, like you said, the movie was a cop-out, I think. At least the end was. The build-up was great. What else?
How about the book like Russian, the brother of Karamazov or Remy?
You want to know what's crazy? The Brothers Karamazov?
Yeah.
I read that.
Are you crazy?
No.
The thick book?
So you want to know when I read it? When I moved from L.A. back to New York, I shipped all of my stuff
Yeah.
and I took a train across the country.
3 nights, right?
More. It
4
took
nights?
more because I got to Chicago and I got this blizzard hit where they canceled all the trains, so I had to stay in Chicago for 2 or 3 days.
Oh my God.
And then I took another train back, and it took so long because there was so much snow. It took an extra day to get back.
Oh my God.
So on that train excursion journey, I did it all by myself. I read the Brothers Karamazov.
I'm impressed. Like,
I loved it.
well, the thing is, I don't know how many times I tried. I
It's
couldn't.
The only reason I did it was because it was before smartphones,
Okay.
and I really only had that book with me. So what else was I going to do? There's no TV on there.
Right.
I mean, there is like the common room cafeteria. I could go talk to people. Why do I want to talk to people? No. So I said, I have this great piece of Russian literature. People say it's almost, the book is almost as important as the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the greatest pieces of literature ever. So I sat there and I read the whole thing, and I got a lot out of it. And I want to go back and read other Dostoevsky stuff, but it's just like you said, it's hard to start unless you're forced,
Okay.
right? Because once you get 80 pages in,
Right.
90 pages in, then you're like, okay, I've already committed this much time. I have to.
Well, if you get that far,
Yeah.
I didn't even go 10 pages. That's why every time I try, and then Les Mis is the same thing,
Yeah, I never read
But,
Les Mis,
But funny thing is Roots.
you loved Roots.
It's as sick as the same. I didn't stop.
Devoured,
See?
yeah.
So
Yeah, I want to read Roots. I think a lot. So the English canon, right? They have that thing where it's like the great works of
Right.
English literature, and then of course you have Russian literature. There's so much literature from around the world. Sometimes though, I'm not sure if I want to read the translations because then you get into the fact of this translator is better than that translator, and like which translation is the best, and all this sort of stuff. So it's hard to say when you get into foreign translations, but. This book that I had for the Karamazov was supposedly the greatest one, the greatest translation, the greatest representation of Dostoevsky in the English language.
I see.
So that's probably why it was easier for me to read. You may have gotten a bad translation.
Oh.
Maybe I'm only speculating, but you might have gotten just some guy who didn't get it or made it. It was too academic. He didn't make it flowery or poetic enough.
How about War and the Peace?
War and Peace, I own it, but I ain't read it. That shit is long.
Yeah.
There's
No
a reason
kidding.
why everybody makes a joke about War and Peace and how long it is. That's the heaviest book I own.
Yeah.
Even heavier than the goddamn hardcovers. That shit is.
It's just, I saw the movie. The movie was long enough. I think like 4 parts.
Yeah. 4 parts.
Each part is like 3 hours.
Yep.
So-
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested, but again, it's one of those things where I always, when I start a really dense piece of literature, it really does depend on the time, the setting, where I am in my life, and it a lot of times it's just because I'm not into it because of where I am as a
Right.
person. It's not the book. It's not the book's fault. It's me. Sometimes it's hard to read in this living room anything that's any harder to read than
Right.
Joe Esterhaus, just because I'm comfortable or whatever. But sometimes I read in bed and I read for 3 hours and I get through like a bunch of books on these Kindle things. So it really does depend on the time, place, and setting.
There is a Japanese book, Human Condition. They made a movie like 7 parts.
Did you read that one?
No, that one also I couldn't go. Even in Japanese, I couldn't
Even
go.
in Japanese, you couldn't do
So
it.
I saw the movie, but still movie is like altogether 16 hours.
So let me ask you a question about reading Japanese as the Japanese characters. How is it built? It's characters, right? It's not the
Right.
alphabet. How is it when you read one of those things? The character, does that represent multiple words?
Yeah, multiple words, and then the one character. Each one character has a meaning.
But multiple meanings, or is it just one representation of
There's always two
two?
meanings. one is it's called on, the other one is kun. So that's, let's say, front and back. So it's like always two meaning.
So there's a front meaning and a back
Back
meaning to the
meaning,
word.
yes.
Interesting. Does that sort of translate to how we say there's the text and the subtext?
Sort of,
similar?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, may not be the text and subtext. It's just two different way.
So you could read a Japanese book in two different ways, essentially, if you wanted to.
Well, it's two different way individually, but when it's written, it's always one way to read it. That's what you have to know it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Crazy. And when you do those different the way that you write the Japanese language, the different slashes and accents and things like that mean different things, right?
Right.
So a word can change based on how you draw it.
Well, drawing the same way,
Uh-huh.
but just you have to judge, before and after those, when it comes. How do I say? It's a certain way doesn't go with the other word. So if you know that, then you when you're reading it, you know what that means.
And you read it, it goes down.
Yes.
Right? Not across.
Right.
Wow. So in a Japanese book, it's a column.
Right.
And multiple columns. So you go down,
Right.
down, and we go across.
And then open goes this.
The other way. So the
Yeah.
book, and that's why a lot of mangas I got confused at first. I said, well, "This is the beginning. This seems like an ending." turn around.
I see.
The manga starts from the end.
Yeah, but Western, American book goes this way, right?
Yeah.
Then Japanese
Japanese,
this
it goes
way,
the other
and
way.
Then
Holy shit, that's crazy. So what now? But you now are used to reading English
Right.
more than Japanese, right?
I would say half and half.
Half and half. So you still own or buy Japanese books?
Right.
Oh, that's great. That's cool. I was always interested the most out of all the language as far as the written word, Japanese. I just always was fascinated with the way that the characters looked.
Well, Chinese has like about 15,000.
15,000 characters.
Yeah. Then, that's too much. So when those characters came to Japan, we cut to about 3,000.
That's even too much. We have, what, 26
right?
26 in the fucking alphabet. Holy shit! And you guys have 3,000? How do you learn? Okay, so is there the equivalent of the ABCs in Japan, but it takes 20 days to recite it?
Yeah, well, it takes years, like
Years?
6 years of elementary school, 3 years of a junior high school, another 3 years in high school.
So all that time you're learning the
Well, you
3,000
learning,
characters.
we have a Japanese literature class, so you just learn.
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 Do you know all the characters by heart right now? 3,000?
No.
No, there's some that you have to look
But
up.
I mean, when you read the newspaper or book,
Yeah.
you can read it. So you probably you know all the 3,000.
Subconscious.
But just you can write all the 3,000.
Right. So, but do you still have to go and look up stuff every once in a while? I mean, I subscribe to dictionary.com. I get the word of the day, and it's interesting because I learn new words all the time.
No, I'm still using because last 30 years and I'm living here, so see here, read all English. So if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes.
So sometimes I forget, then you have to, I can't remember how to read this. So
Yeah. What is that? What is that?
Yeah,
Oh wow, that's so interesting. I love that. Maybe if I have some time when I'm like 60 or something, I'll start to learn how to read Japanese. It'll take me.
But funny thing is when I came here, then about 2-3 years later, when I start reading, dreaming in English, then my English became better. So that means probably my brain switched from Japanese. Until then, probably even when I speak, I was translating, like before I speak,
Right.
translate, then I can speak.
Then it
But
came
then,
naturally.
after 2-3 years, when I start thinking directly in English, then my speaking get better. I mean, I still have accent, but now I don't have to translate. I just
It just spits right the fuck out of your mouth. Yeah, that's great.
Right.
Wow.
I couldn't argue with the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before I couldn't do it. I have to think like, how do I say fuck you? Like but.
Amazing. All right. Any final thoughts on books? Because this has been another pleasurable experience. We didn't even know we were going to talk about this today, but we came in with all these things. I mean,
Oh, the
I
one
can go
thing I
on
have
forever.
to tell you, when I was taking, English class, and then there's one assignment. My English wasn't still good, so our assignment was, read the book and write the paper, right? And then we got those sheet, it's like how to do it.
Yeah.
So I was reading it, and then this is how. So I went to library, found this book, and got it. I wrote like this isn't easy. It wasn't novel or anything. You know what the book about? How to write the paper. It's a guidebook, but I didn't know. I thought that was an assignment book. So instructor gave you this paper, we're all freshmen. So how to write, the paper, So this was just a guideline. The book the book could be anything. You just pick the book you write.
Yeah.
Then write this. This was how to write the paper, guide the paper. But I thought that was the book we read to write.
That you needed. What did your teacher say? The professor.
He goes, Yuki, no, this is just, telling you how to do the right. You just find the book.
Any book.
Yeah. Then write
Garfield.
the paper. Yeah, not this guidebook. I was embarrassed, but
What are your thoughts on comic books? Did you read manga and comic books and stuff like that at all?
Yeah, before it wasn't, before it became this international popular.
Sure, yeah. No, I used to love Garfield. I used to love Calvin and Hobbes.
Have you read what was that? Something giant. The big giant eat the people.
Godzilla?
Not the Godzilla. Not the Godzilla. Not the most. It's like a big human. Just to attack the village, then eat the people.
Jack and the Beanstalk? Or
No,
Sullivan's Travels?
No, it's Japanese comic book.
No, I never read that.
Oh,
there's a lot of great shit. I read the manga that I read was they made the movie of it that's not as good. The Battle Angel, Alita.
Oh, Alita.
Yeah,
but
the mangas are amazing.
Right?
Amazing.
I think the Scarlett Johansson did it, right?
No, that's Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, that's Ghost in the Shell.
That was based on the anime. But yeah, I love all sorts of comics. I love all that stuff. I mean, right now I'm reading 2 comic books. I'm reading Tales from the Crypt, and I'm reading the Darth Vader series, which is
the comic book.
There's a great comic book about right from the moment Darth Vader becomes Darth Vader. In episode 3.
Yeah.
Right after that, after they show him at the Death Star,
right.
The Emperor gives him an assignment, and he says, you have to go. You can't use your lightsaber. You have to go and get a lightsaber and kill a Jedi for your lightsaber.
I thought about how he became Darth Vader. This is okay. The Padme, right?
Yeah.
And then this Anakin from the nowhere, right?
Yeah, it was the Tatooine.
Tatooine, this boy. So they can't fall in love, the
Forbidden.
Yeah, they said no. She is a princess. You're nobody. You can have her.
Yeah.
So he gets angry. He rapes her.
Wait,
right?
What?
Yeah, because he rapes her, then he became Darth Vader.
What fucking movie did you watch? That didn't happen.
No, I thought that should be that way.
You thought that's what...
Yeah, it's not like
Yuki, Star Wars is supposed to be for kids. This isn't fucking The Accused with Jodie Foster where they're gonna put fucking Darth Vader on a pinball
But
machine.
my point is, the way he became Darth Vader wasn't dark enough.
I sort of agree with you. So what? I mean, come on, he kills children. That's pretty fucked up.
But that's after he became Darth Vader, though.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you mean the crossover? So he kills Mace Windu. That's like the big.
Well,
thing.
that was already, I mean, that's kind of. But when he became darker, I think it's like a big impact is, okay, you can't have her. So he gets angry, he rapes her, then he became bad guy.
Oh my God, Yuki, this is. Whoa, I wonder what George Lucas is going to say. But George Lucas is sweating right now. He's like, holy shit, I fucked up. I should have taken Yuki's
But
advice.
I mean, okay, well, rape is maybe too much. But, what I mean is that much kind of impact make him bad.
It could have been interesting as if he kidnapped her, took her away,
Well,
held her
something,
captive,
yeah.
And was like, we're in love. And she's
Right.
like, yes, okay, I love you, but I want to go. And he's like, no, you can't go. And
Right,
like, yeah,
something.
okay, see.
Instead of, upper management or whatever, those people says,
Yeah,
I can't be,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
mean, that's not strong enough, he became, against Jedi,
Yeah.
I just,
I was thinking, personally, I was very forgiving, and we could do a whole episode on Star Wars, but let's just wrap this out. And the thing is, when I saw The Phantom Menace and it sucked,
right,
I said to my friends who were complaining, I said, well, at the very least, Darth Vader's coming.
right.
Even if it's not in the second movie. The third movie is going to be Darth Vader hunting down the Jedis, killing those motherfuckers, and it's going to be awesome. And guess what? We didn't get that at all. We didn't even get that in the goddamn Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels. They have not shown us,
Right.
other than this comic book that I'm reading, of how he goes and takes the Inquisitors and hunts down the Jedi. And it's the fucking best, some of the best Star Wars stuff ever, because that's what you want to see.
Right.
So I don't understand why the people who run Star Wars keep saying, we're going to show you the things that, yeah, maybe you're interested in,
Right.
but the things that you really want to see, comic book. The thing that you really want to see, in a novel. We're not going to show you that on screen. Why?
Oh,
why are
yeah.
they fucking with us and not giving us the shit that we want to see? All we want to see is Darth Vader. I want a Darth Vader TV show where every episode he just goes and kills people. He goes, he hunts down a Jedi, he kills them, maybe they have a conversation, whatever. That's all I want.
Really bad guy, but Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader just killing people and having a whole series. They should make this series,
In the
this comic
movie.
book series, into a TV show or a movie. And that's what people want. They don't want to fucking know about, I don't know, BB-8 and shit like that. Yeah, it's
Right.
cute in the moment, but who remembers? Do you remember anything? No. We remember Darth Vader, though.
Yeah.
And that's all we want to see. Fuck being mysterious. Give us why can't you do a movie from the villain's perspective? Why?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's so stupid.
Well, from good guy's point is normal because I mean, but the people can be the main, right?
Yeah, it's normal, but now we've gotten into a place, say, with Star Wars or with other things, where the universe is so humongous that people would accept
right.
the Darth Vader show or the Darth Vader movie and say, okay, as long as it's interesting and done well, who cares if it's from the perspective of a good guy?
Well, I was pissed that Darth Maul got killed in just one movie.
Yeah, he was like great.
Yeah.
And then oh, he's still alive fucking years later.
Solo, right? He showed up in
Well, not only Solo, if you haven't seen the cartoons and shit, he's all over the Clone Wars.
Really?
Yeah, he's all over Star Wars Rebels. He becomes a big... In fact, George Lucas wanted Darth Maul to be the villain. This is the greatest idea. The original George Lucas idea for the sequel trilogy was the Empire gets destroyed, and Darth Maul, who is basically the head of, now that Jabba the Hutt's dead, is the head of all the crime syndicates in the galaxy. And what he starts to do, Darth Maul, is do terrorist attacks against the New Republic to continue to hold power.
But that time he's already dead because he killed in episode 1.
No, so in all the shows and stuff, he survives that fall, and he's only half the man, and he goes and he gets legs, bionic legs.
Oh, like that's Vader.
Exactly. He's like half a Darth Vader, and he goes and he survives, and he takes over the criminal underground in Star Wars lore, and he becomes the crime lord of crime lords because he still can fight, he still can use the Force, he's a badass motherfucker. And what the sequel trilogy was going to be was that he had an apprentice who he was training in the dark side of the Force, and they took over the crime syndicate and became basically terrorists against the New Republic. Great.
That's nice because if General Jeebus or Giebus or
the robot.
The robot thing exists, then they can have a.
They can do that for Darth Maul. It works. It makes sense. So, but it was a missed opportunity. Anyway, I don't know how we went from books to Star Wars.
So when he shows up and then during one scene the Solo, I hate it. Like, oh, wow,
you didn't understand, right?
Yeah,
because that's the thing. They have all these novels and books and whatever. I like it only because I was able to find them for free, but I'm not going to go paying, all that money to Disney to go read a comic book. I borrowed it from my library.
Right.
I have a here's another app that you can look up besides LibGen. It's called Hoopla, and if you're a member of a library, you can get all sorts of audiobooks and comic books through Hoopla.
Huh.
Yeah,
Free.
Look right here. Look, free. You just borrow them for 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
God.
Yeah, look, it's all Darth Vader stuff. You can then they have recommendations, all these comic books, all these audio books. It's great. So, everybody go out and buy a book.
Buy a book. Read the book.
Read a book, even if it's on your phone. Take Yuki's advice. Werner Herzog says that every filmmaker should be a really deep reader. They should read a lot of stuff.
A lot of book, yeah.
All right, thank you guys for joining us on this journey that went from books to Star Wars to back again. All right, we just want to thank all of our patrons,
thank you for listening,
all of our listeners, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.
Yuki and John's Patreon of the Birth.